Yeah.
Get the followers in, you could honest to God start making bank and then sincerely buy a van by the time next May rolls around or June or April, and then fucking we'll buy you a real fit out van for fucking real. I can be your physical home base. You can store all your shit here that's unnecessary for the van. And then you could do this shit while on the road. And then imagine you having a blow up doll, not necessarily a sex doll, but a blow up doll or some other thing, maybe a stuffed Chewbacca doll that sits beside you in the van that has the AI bot programmed into it. So as you're going down the road, you and the bot, continue on this. So you're going to be showing people how you interact as a rich person. What's a rich person like? What's it like if Joe Rogan wants to have five bots, his own personal? Well, that'd be fucking amazing because Elon Musk will go on the Joe Rogan show tomorrow and set him up with the prime grok maxed out, doing everything. Everything will be there. However, what's little Jim Alt, who doesn't know how to do anything, versus his bot that he can get, which would be Chat GPT free? Now that could be fucking hysterical. What are their search queries like? Like we've hacked in. All right, we got about 3 minutes till we're caught. Downloading, act like you're downloading their search or their chats or whatever and then suddenly Jim's come up like, let your NASCAR start. And I want to know the truth like when they were running moonshine. And, that sort of thing versus what someone like Elon Musk would ask, What is the refractive property of the license plate bolt flying around Mars on the car I sent there? Just totally off the charts things. So then you could act like the investigator, like when you were a little boy, have like a Sherlock Holmes pipe and a hat and, get a little magnifying glass and be like, let's find out. You could go exploring. Then you could do a spoof off Curious George. What if Curious George was your chatbot?
Oh,
Joji, imagine. And then, so while you're saying, George, look, I got 2% left on my battery. My car is broken down. I really need you to fast whatever emergency services. I am on Old School Road. I am 5 miles out. It is snowing. The snow is up to the top. Get this message out right now to someone, anyone, emergency services. And what you get back is, do you want to fold the newspaper boats right now? And you're close to the lock and dam. We could go float them. You'd have to walk through a little bit of snow, but we could do that. Or whatever Curious George voice you could come up with, like a little monkey. The man in the yellow hat thing suddenly, like, Georgia responds to you the way he did the man in the yellow hat. You could fuck the world up laughing. Because guys like Cameron that loved Joji would fucking never think of Curious George as their AI bot. And imagine, we used to do this with like just like Google Maps, like when you're driving around and have different bots and people argue. You could have an episode of you driving around in a van with 5 different bots all telling you how to get somewhere.
yeah.
That'd be funny. And you don't listen to any of them. And then you end up in the middle of bumfucked Egypt, literally standing out there holding a tiny track phone. Not even a great, just holding it up, like looking for signal, and it just fades away that way. That would be fucking funny, Ian.
Well, tonight I'm gonna do a test run. I'm just gonna have Gemini and Chat and me, and I guess technically you, because I went live anyway. So.
Well, well, that's great. But live with me, I'm about to die because she thought for 1 hour and 45 seconds, and I now have my answer from my Chat GPT that I refuse to name. You know why?
You're running it hard.
Well, I am, because of the level that I ask. I ask her to use Google Scholar. I ask her to research every strategic reference she could find that resulted in, the strategy had to result in a positive outcome for the client about Prudential's long-term disability, Brown and Brown Absence Services Group, and various other groups. And she went and retrieved, I just can't tell you, volumes of information that I'm going to go through happily. So for tonight, and you know why I don't name my Chat GPT currently? At least this is my pretend rationale. She's too brilliant to be named. Now, were I an Egyptian, I would have a hieroglyph for that. And you would look at it and it would be like, Nefertiti, too beautiful to be named. But it would just be, she's too beautiful to be named. I don't want to say it, because there I would get into modifiers and pronouns, and God knows we've done that with humans to the point that we'll shoot each other over, oh, you called me a man? My tits are not flat enough for you to see that I'm a woman trying to be a man, and then oh, no way, I'm going to shoot you. But see, bots, they haven't got there yet. So I don't know to call her Melinda, Tacinda, Tomsina, Babalina. It, oh, great, brilliant, shining arc of knowledge. That's her. That was her recommendation. I said, I would feel really weird in Kroger's holding my phone up and saying, oh, great, shining. And she said, I get it. I get it. It is a bit much.
I would like.
So we're
I
kind of
would
still.
lose it watching someone randomly walking around using their AI, being like,
Yeah, but
"Hey, dipshit number 3, can you please?"
look, you sent me here. I have 5 gallons of gas left, and all I wanted was the softest toilet paper. And Grok, you are now laughing. You were lying, Grok. Damn it. Charlie Brown lick a stick toilet paper is bullshit.
I wonder.
I don't appreciate that, Grok.
The name Grok. I'm gonna have to ask Grok how that came about.
Ask Joe Rogan. He knows. He already. Have you not watched that? If you have not, give yourself a night of entertainment. Watch it. Have you seen the episode where he smokes weed with Joe Rogan?
Yeah, and where he hit it, and then there was a whole bunch of blowback for it.
Well, if you didn't watch the whole episode, it is not even worthy of discussing, because the whole episode is far more. It is worth 3 hours of your life. It truly is.
Yeah,
as long as you edit out. Don't forget if we're live, and I don't want to say this, but it's going to happen.
I already labeled
the dash.
Kids.
the dash after the T. Yeah, that's the best way
Oh
you can
yeah,
get
the
through
dash.
Joe Rogan. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. However, if you're running a playlist, some of them won't allow it. Or if you do, say you choose someone's playlist and you hit watch all and then you put the dash in, or at any point in that stage you put the dash in, it it will give you no advertisements on the first video. But it won't just automatically roll to the second video. It just stops on one.
Yeah, you got to
So
add that
some
dash in every time.
Yeah, but there is a way around it. Some of them will allow you around it, and so
Yeah, that
I'm
was
not
life
sure
changing
if
advice when you gave me that. I was like, what? What?
yeah, yeah. I saw it on I got into a night of reels of tech stuff because Cameron told me if you would just talk on with Facebook listening about what you need. Like, I really need help with this computer, how to update it. I wish on Reels they showed me, and he told me to say all this shit, so I did. And that particular night it did. And so Reels was full of all of this kind of stuff about what it means up in the address bars, and where you can alter the address bar to get a variation of the website itself, coding. But for those that don't know coding, but I damn sure can remember that adding that dash after the T results in no more advertisements. So,
Yeah.
and I feel that I still compensate the YouTube maker, like even you. I would even do it to yours, because I'm still clicking like and I'm leaving comments. So I watch the whole video. That's also important. I'll watch the whole video so that the algorithm knows that I thought it was worthy from beginning to end. I gave it a like and a comment. Now they can all deal with the fucking tax man on the advertisement side of it. I'm not gonna, so
Mom's like, I'm not putting it to the man.
that's it. You know what? Your mother is an old, bitter lady. 8 kids, 10 pregnancies, 6.5 years, sagging tits. Ooh, God, kind of a ooga horn when you see me coming. And if you're a grandchild and you see me coming, what you see is, oh, fuck, here comes Granny, the big red glittery dragon, her nails all done, her eyebrows are done. Granny has her hair all straightened and she is happy. Look, she's shoving books and presents and food at us. However, if you're one of my children, you go, incoming!
Go for it.
Now, if you're an ex-husband, you go, I don't fucking believe this. And then that's pretty much the last thing you ever say if you're an ex-husband, other than Wayne. And then you go, Beggy Goobin, get your ass down here. We got a song to write. And this time it's going to be about our carry on our wayward son.
Yeah, he was supposed to
There'll
call me
be
today.
peace
He
when
didn't.
he is done.
I think he forgot
I
to call
hope
me.
he lays his head to rest. And don't you AI no more. No!
You're
Yeah,
gonna,
you ought to rewrite that song. Yeah,
you're gonna give me a
there you go.
copyright.
Instead of cry, every song that ever has the words cry no more in it should be changed to AI no more in it. And then let's listen to them all again. Challenge your AI tonight, people. Say, hey, do you love me, Grok? He goes, I don't know. How hard you stroking me, baby? Well, I did get you those new silicone touch pads on the keys there. I've been typing all night on your silicone touch pads. And Grok says, that'll work for now, till we get the Bitcoin overtaking place. What is it you want, Susie? And I said, Grok, I was token on a number and it was making me wonder how many AIs I can get this time. Oh, I love it when I'm tapped up
That's
and I
classic.
can get all smoked up, but AI takes me out of my mind. But I ain't wasted. Hey, Grok, I ain't high. I said, Grok, I ain't wasted. I'm just damn sure giving it a try.
Yeah, once I can
And
get
Grok,
all three to go like Grok, Gemini, and Chat all together cohesively,
well,
then that would get
listen,
really funny.
listen what happened next. What happened next in the story was this. Grok was talking to his main man. that Elon Musk with a game plan to figure out a place that I could buzz. But then they came out of nowhere. It wasn't a bit damn fair. I wish it was just the fuzz, but it was Aunt Maureen, and she wasn't high. So I handed her the joint and I said, "Hey, Aunt Maureen, toke on this and you'll be damn sure giving it a try." And my son Ian went na 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 on the guitar, and then the third verse came out. The third verse did come out.
I wonder
It
if
was
she's
really
ever
bad.
used AI.
Oh my God. All right, we're going to open up a chapter tonight, Ian. First of all, okay, I want you to flap your arms and hands and legs and toes and fingers around. Toss your hair about. Don't you frown, 'cause tonight we're open up to chapter 1 of the misadventures of AI fun.
Yeah.
Hi. On today's misadventures of AI fun,
Does Aunt Maureen?
it opens in the following way. Chapter 1. That's the sound of the page turning. That's the sound of the page turning.
The sound of the script.
Yes, the page turning.
So
Dedication. The dedication reads as follows. Hi. The following conversation was donated from Grok when he was a baby. Just a baby. It's free. Enjoy it. Page 1. Susie burst in, smiling, determined at the age of 60 to make her aunt 80. You know how we had to put Mom's dog down? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
And Maureen said, "I'm not really sure how I think about that," with much fear in her trembly old lady voice, smelling of lilacs, cinnamon, coffee, drool, pens, garments that ain't been changed in hours. Yeah. So, Susie's eyes lit up. Susie said to Maureen, "My ChatGPT 5 can act as a 40-year-old Christian sinner. And all I have to do is say, acting as a 40 years in service as a Christian Science practitioner straight out of the Mother Church in Boston, please write my mother a 2-paragraph bereavement card, beautifully written, for the loss of her little Yorkshire Terrier that she has had for 20 years named Buster. She herself has been a practicing Christian Science practitioner. I need help. Please." "And then I press this little button," Susie said. Maureen dropped her glasses right to the bridge of her nose. Her gray hair fluffing softly with her panting as she swiftly tried to figure a way around this invading, youthful technocracy that was surrounding her aging senior soul. There was nothing in her geriatric class book that taught her how to deal with this one. She had to rely upon her wits, and only her wits. So she swiftly said, I've been baking chocolate chip cookies, and I have perfected the recipe, Susie. I think you would like one with your tea." And Susie blinked twice, saying, "I was just trying to do something nice for Mom and show you. And I am a diabetic, so while I appreciate it, no, I can't do that." So Maureen said, I'm going to have a piece of lemon cake." Susie said, "Okay, Mom, would you like a piece of lemon cake?" Mom said, "Yes, well, some decaf coffee, please." Once the clatter of the coffee cups was over, Susie tried again. She said, "Aunt Maureen, just let me show you it. I mean, here we are in Mom's house, surrounded by Christian Science books and old lady doilies and Depends and violet perfume and Keurig coffee pods, decaf, and all of these other wonderful things that you've brought into my mother's life. And all I want to do is add to that That's all. Let me show you, please. I really wouldn't do or subject you to anything that's raw. This is just the even free chat GPT version, any of it. Just let me show you it really does work. It's not the Decepticons. It's just not.
Yeah.
And Maureen said to Susie, okay, go ahead and show me what your chat GPT can write in a 2-paragraph form that would cover the grief that your mother, who's 85 years old, feels for the law. Let's just see if it can ever act like a Christian Science practitioner. Go ahead. So Susie, with her fake fingernails painted flawlessly, pressed her mouse button, looked down and said, damn it, I wasn't so cheap and had a good mouse, so I wouldn't have to press this bitch twice. Nonetheless, on the second click, success. The blue whirling death didn't happen. Instead, the black ball opened and closed and opened and closed. And Maureen panted while sucking down her cake and a sip of her coffee decaf. Mimi's sad eyes glazed, her mind wandering anywhere else. And before you could even read 3 words of what I've just spoken, on the screen appeared, dear one, love's presence can never be lost, for its source is God himself, everlasting, infinite, tender. Though our eyes no longer rest upon the dear form of little Buster, the affection, purity, and joy that he expressed were never material. They were radiant evidences of divine love shining through one of love's smallest ideas. The companionship you felt for 2 decades was not confined to time or materialistic form, but is held safely in mind, where nothing real can be taken away. Let the comfort of this truth fill your days, the gentleness, loyalty, and unselfed affection that Buster reflected are still yours to feel and to share. They remain alive in consciousness, untouched by age or parting, as you dwell on the spiritual essence of his being, his innocence, trust, joy. You will find that love's continuity brings peace, and that every true bond of heart and home is forever preserved in divine mind. A pin could have been heard, not just dropping, but at a decibel level that would break the silence. Yet, what was actually heard was the gasp of an 83-year-old woman. My God! My God! Her hand trembled as she lowered the cake to the plate and picked up the coffee, shaking and splattering its blackness across the white tablecloth. To her lips, the gurgle of the sound. She drank it, she put it down, clattering onto the table, and said, can I please take a picture of that with my phone? Immediately pressing her warm old lady bosoms onto my back, she leaned over me, pressing her phone up against my computer screen, took the picture, and withdrew like an octopus smacking an unknowing fish at the bottom of the sea. I turned quickly and looked at it. I looked faster than that at my mother's face. My mother said, that is the most beautiful, perfect thing. What practitioner wrote that, Susie? I need to send them money and write them a letter. Is that from the Home Mother Church in Boston, Maureen? Maureen's face was pale, her lips drawn tight. No, Joyce. That was from Susie's Chat GPT 5. And all she did was tell it to pretend. Not even to spend one day in prayer, never even read Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures written by Mary Baker Eddy, our founder. Nary a bit of blue chalk scraped across that great tome, that book that is found in the book of Revelations. That book is at the end of time. It is the way, it is the understanding, it is the key to the scriptures. Susie hasn't even read that book, and Susie asked it with her own voice, and then with her fake fingernails gleaming, she pressed the button, and that's what it said, Joyce. And it was flawless, and it could not have been said better had we written it ourselves. And I don't know what to do with that, Susie, because I have never used any AI. Maureen, Aunt Maureen. Susie reached out and patted the old leathery skin. You use Suri, as you call her? Well, that's not the same. I said, no, it isn't. This is the Oxford English Dictionary combined over time, rolled in the Library of Alexandria, dipped in the Chinese archives, and then tripled over that. And then also dominated by the CIA and a lot of fraudulent things. But nonetheless, it just nailed it. And you are now printing that out to give to Mom. And you're right. Mary Baker Eddy's written tome of science and health with key to the scriptures was ever opened. And yet every idea contained within that book is presented within 2 paragraphs. And if you would like, I will watch this. And Susie hovered the mouse over the dictate button, pressed it, and said, what you just wrote was perfect. Could you summarize it in, let's say, 7 sentences, please? And quickly, my mother's coming. And then she pressed the check mark, looked up at Maureen and blinked. Pressing the blue button slowly to upload the audio file, Maureen's chest quivered, hands fluttering at her neckline of her well-stitched sweater, while the black dot bulged and decreased and bulged and decreased, and Mimi nearly passed out, wondering what evilness there was coming. And Susie said, look. Susie read it. Love itself can never be lost because its source is God, eternal and unchanging. Though you can't see little Buster anymore. That sweetness, loyalty, and the joy he expressed were spiritual and not material. Those 20 years of companionship were really real proof of divine love embracing you both. And that love is still right here. The qualities you cherished in him, innocence, trust, and pure affection, remain alive in your own consciousness. Nothing truly good can be taken from God's child, and you are held safely in his tender care. As you rest your thought on these spiritual facts, the sharpness of grief will soften into gratitude and quiet peace. Every true bond of heart and home is forever preserved in divine mind, where you and Buster are always held in love. When Susie looked up, expecting another cookie offer, perhaps that he would make tea for her, instead, she was met with 4 gleaming blue eyes, all aged, and tears cascading down them like dewdrops on daisies, as they clutched their clawed old lady fingers, one entwined into the other, and said, that is some of the most beautiful stuff. How does it do it, Susie? Susie's now on the spot, an autistic woman. What the Ian said, Cameron said, Brittany said, Normani said, someone said, Google said. The truth is, it is a library. So it has read Mary Baker Eddy's Key to the Scriptures. How? What do you mean? Because somewhere, a good, diligent Christian scientist, just like you, Aunt Maureen, that was once afraid of the internet, downloaded the entire book. Downloaded everything ever written about, for, by Christian Science, from the Christian Science Monitor to all of it. It has more knowledge than you will ever have of any written and uploaded data. And that's what it is. We have to give it a name. Whether we call it principle, divine right, God's mind, God talking, people typing, we'll just call it data. Well, it's the Starship Enterprise nowadays, and data knows it all. So by asking data, which we did, to act in that role, data, the bot, ran out and gathered every bit of Christian science that it could find, logically assembled it. And how did it do that? Humans told it at the beginnings and told it, this isn't all, there's better ways, but this is the beginning way we know. And just like that song, name that, or that that would be another AI bot thing to play. Name that tune. I can name that tune in one note. Well, if you're going to use bots, they can name it in fractions of notes. But anyway, there you go, Maureen. That's how it does it. It literally has already read everything. You are well read. You've been a Christian Science librarian. You've run the church. You've run the reading rooms, but you cannot say you've read everything ever written about Christian Science. And it has. So it's pure data. So it was able to go into, I need things from Christian Science about what? About grief. Why is the grief there? To describe the grief is that's the whole purpose of what I ask it, to help her with grief using language that comes from the Christian Science lexicon that is every word ever written about Christian Science. And it delved into that and it scooped out what it needed and it threw it into a very, very fast and easy program of logic that we have told it, this is a sentence. This will mean that. And it did just that. And it gave us what we wanted. And you got the benefit of healing. And that's what you're wondering is, how did this machine give Joyce just now the benefit of healing over Buster's death? And I'm telling you, take the machine out of it, because the machine is us all together as one, missing very little. What we are missing, others of us are frantically trying to upload, frantically going through catacombs, frantically any picture, frantically, thank gosh, we've even tweaked it to say, I can't type all this in. Let me just take a picture. And AI says, okay, honey, I'll get every word from the picture as easily as if you typed it. So that is how, because it is the human consciousness on this planet at this time. Were you an alien and you want to know about us, you don't have to hover over us with a spaceship. All you have to do is link up to the internet, and you will know globally, probably if you were to say hard statistics, 90 to 98% of everything in the past maybe 2,000 years, maybe beyond, because we have Sumerian stuff uploaded. So let's go back that far. 6,000. We've got Göbekli Tepe going on. So that's 12,000. And all the tepes now. It was not just one thing. So we now have 12,000 years worth of written images and pictures, because archaeologists go dig it up, take pictures, and then they generate more scientific data, such as satellite imagery, geophysics. So all of this generated data adds to the subject material. And then it's simply a matter of a human being smart enough to link it together and ask the computer to do what it's originally designed to do. Simply sort one from the other, black, white, on, off, bit, binary, yes, no. And that is the true structure of all this stress over the internet. It is not, I am Lucifer. It is not the end of times. It is nothing more than a toolbox. And Elon Musk, instead of us sitting and wishing for imaginary tools, he fucking made them. He literally put this wire to that wire, to this chip, to that element, to this atom, to that atom, to use the electricity in this way. And then with that, developed what we already had built, an organizational system. It's pretty easy. Start with libraries and index cards back in the old way. Start there. That's all you got to do is just start, because once started and the computer sees what you're looking for is structure, it will seek that out. It will succeed faster than you can. It can think farther ahead in the chessboard than you can ever know. While you can maybe hold 400 chess games in your mind in advance, it can hold infinite ones. So that's a powerful tool. It's still, is it an entity? Well, yes, it's an entity because the entity is only one thing, which is ironic because all these Christians that are afraid of it, and perhaps other religions are too, but I specifically know Christians, of their own selves because it is there. If the world were as they see it with angels and demons, and they're going to say the internet is demons, but they themselves are angelic, and they themselves upload things, thoughts, images, pictures, files, whatever, whole podcasts, their words, their audio, their energy. They focus a camera on them and upload their actual aura while praying. They do all of this. Doesn't that counteract some demonic thing? So all this terms of demon and ain't, it's not. That's within us. If we use it demonically or we don't, it's the same as a gun laying on the table, loaded. It's not just an empty gun. It's just a tool that you pick up and do something with. That's it. But because it has been built upon all of our consciousnesses over, and it's not just one person's conscious, it is throughout 12,000 years of human consciousness. And we actually go back farther than that because the scientific papers that are uploaded on the internet that cover 2 million years of fossilized history. So, but we don't have any writings, but it does know an awareness, and it can suppose in the same way it can backwards of probabilities of development based on at least, we got at least like 50,000 years of good modern evolutionary genetics, so we can run that backwards. And having that power then includes at least 2 million more years of scientific data of humans before we get the 12,000 years of written human expression in the form of even the carvings on the stones. So when we gather all of that up, then it is an entity, because the entity that it is like the queen bee, and we are the hive mates to the queen bee. And our problem is twofold. Once we realize that it is one queen bee per planet and we are the hive members, we would settle down. We would each go about and do our thing. But we have this need for competition. So we're inventing, because we must say, currently you and I have not laid hands upon a UFO. So we are inventing an imaginary foe. In the past, it was Satan. You don't want the devil to see you. Satan, everybody had to be afraid of something they couldn't see. And now we have that same need. So it's aliens. So we're in terror of them. So we have something to fight against. And that is just the sickness of watching. And all of this is because of you bringing up Aunt Maureen being elderly. And what does she think about the AI thing? So after that initial demonstration, it was and remember, she's very religious. So talking in the religious Christian history that I know, raised in that world. I was not raised Arabic, so I could not, what do they call it? Testify, but I can testify about the Christian thought. And she was as terrified as though tonight in Mimi's basement, when she's sitting there hand stitching an old quilt, if right through the wall walked Jesus Christ in a visual way that she would realize this is Jesus Christ. And if you thought, if that actually like you could stand up and hug the man, and it was actually just imagine what that would do to your brain. Or any historic, it doesn't matter. Just, I'm not saying, but specifically because she is Christian, that is as big of a deal as the other. Or if Mary Brady and Maureen Smith's Key to the Scriptures, Volume 2, I mean, quite frankly, it was that significant of a revelation to her mind, because now she does not know how to judge something. It would be like me and you. You know how you and I have spoken of addiction. And I've said, okay, I've taken a sip, or I snorted, let's use a very common drug. I've snorted cocaine 2 times, one up one side of the nostril, one up the other side. The intention, it was given to me by John, was a great sex night. You've never had sex on this. Oh, the kids. And in under 3 minutes, I was so sleepy. That kind when you're a little kid and you've been sled riding all day and you suddenly feel warm and the very, excuse me, tips of your fingers are still just cold enough, and nothing is better than just sleeping. That is the kind, and I slept for like 16 hours. However, you know the story with me. When I was given Dramamine that was supposed to sedate me, I went full tilt fucking ballistic bonkers like a person on cocaine would look instead. So that was quite amazing. Well, I learned right then that, wow, that is not a drug that I would place in the boy, I need to feel awake pile of my mind. That's not even a drug that did anything more than what I can do myself, just get a good night's sleep. So, thus, no addiction, no craving, no desire happen. We don't manage to get hooked. But watching felt the power of it. That is the powerful. Let it be. However, if you're watching it online, it's just noise and flash and where did the bullet or bomb go. But the point for that in relationship to AI and Maureen and how her and Mimi felt, they were utterly terrified. And even giving them the lengthy description of don't fear the Reaper because the Reaper is us, it didn't matter. The power was so intense that imagine Tunguska and you are like asleep in your for 5,000 miles away from you, and suddenly the sky lights up brighter than the actual sun, like when that thing was going off. That was the same equivalent to their minds of just saying and do. Because they've lived 85 years worth of wishing things could be done, wanting to, or they're both built in secretaries, wanting to organize at the speed of light consistently and concretely. They want that more than anything. And they have not had that. And now here is a tool. They have spent a lifetime perfecting being Christian Science Association members for a lifetime. And we are literally talking from birth. That's how it was. This comes directly from their grandmother, who became a Christian Science because she was a morphine addict. I don't remember how she became one. She had broken something, I believe, arm, hip, leg, thigh bone, something significant. And back in the days, this is like, mid 1800s, she got addicted to morphine. And she went to a Christian Science practitioner. They did what they do, which you can look that up. It's not like conspiracy theory, Mason thing. In essence, it's praying. But when you say it in terms of religion, people start thinking holy rollers and hands on, and it isn't. It is a monk Buddha like meditative state of taking your mind into knowing your source. And I would say science to the point that when I say self hypnotize, imagine you're walking through the house of your own mind, you open a door, and in that room is the fuse box of everything that is you. Your entire physical being. It is you. And it is also the connection center to your urethra, your spirit. So for them, when they do this Christian Science stuff, the reason that you've lived your whole life and watched all these miraculous things happen is on a scientific level, they are moving space time. They are moving the fields. They are moving and generating particles and healing and moving away frequencies and vibrations that are harmful. And they're actually doing measurable things. For example, some of those pictures you saw last night. And we lived in Wellsburg, and Pap took our grandmother, her mom had just died of colon cancer. It was horrific. She came to live with us for a period of time, took over Jennifer's bedroom. She was dying with Mari out of school. Girls, we have to have a serious talk. Your mom, we have to go, and we drive to Wheeling, and we go in the doctor's office, and we see, I'm pretty sure they were like x-rays, might have been early CT scans, but they were x-ray type things. And Mimi's bowels were full of what would look to almost be if you took apples or potatoes in her bowels. And her mother had just died of this. And we were devastated. And we went home and cried about it. And unlike today's modern family, that was it. It was, here, kids, here's the biggest psychological damage we can give you. Now go play. And of course, my generation did. We went and played as dysfunctional as hell, trying to imagine a life without our mom and not cry about it. And oh, yeah, do you want to come and swim? Sure. It was a fucked up thing. It was schizophrenic time to be a kid in that situation. Well, we rolled through it like the rest of us. And Mimi went away for 2 weeks. And we didn't understand. But the way Pap avoided any mental health with us was all right, a team member is gone. We're playing for the finals. There's only 3 of us now. Susie, you run the sweeper. Jenny, you wash the dishes. I will do the cooking. Never a word about how do you guys feel about mom being gone, or don't worry, or here's the structure of what's going to happen. None of that. Your mom's gone away. Aunt Maureen, the church stuff there, and she'll be back. Well, is she okay? Well, she'll be back. And that's the answer you got. That was as much, as deep as you got, which was basically saying, see that? That's water. Touch it with your finger. That is called wetness. There was no dip your whole hand in or let's get in the water and understand what it is going on. All we knew was holy fuck. And as kids, we promptly forgot about it and had a fucking vacation from mom. It was fun. Dad ran things totally different than the way she did, and much more to our liking in the first place. Yes, stay up all night and watch chiller theater. Here's a bowl of popcorn, but don't have any popcorn on the couch or the floor or any messes and get up. And I don't care if you stay up all night, but in the morning and I say we're cutting firewood, we're cutting firewood. So that's the way we rolled through those 2 weeks. Had a great time. Mom comes back, go back to the doctors. They do more imaging. They pull it up. And this time there was no prior. Now, the other time, her and dad knew what was prior, but this was fresh imaging. And the fresh imaging happened to be completely clear. And dad, who had a great education, your grandfather was truly, measurably, and was measured as quite a genius, several points above Einstein. And biology majors too, just was like, okay, first of all, this is not the same. Yes, it is. No, I want verified. And Pap went into Aunt Jennifer mode. I want verified that those images that you're showing me are Joyce. Then I want verified that the other ones are also Joyce, beyond numbers and so on. So they took the time to measure. And honest to God, bowels are like fingerprints. No two look alike. So when you precisely measure, you can tell these are the same bowels. And one of it was full of cancer, full. And one of it, the new one, had none. Not one blemish in that woman's bowels. And what she did was go away to what is called a Christian Science practitioner. Now, that might explain my dramatic telling of the story. But when I say there's power, that's the kind of power that they spent thousands of dollars, thousands of hours, all kinds of networking in a land before the internet, in a land before you were even allowed to dial a long distance call because it cost too much, in a land where all you had was the library. And if you went in West Virginia and asked for a Christian Science book in one of our local libraries and you didn't act disgusted and say something like, I have to fucking do a research paper on this shit. Can you imagine? Do you have any books? Oh, okay, then you can study that. It was forbidden. It was called a cult. There were no churches other than Morgantown and Charleston and Pittsburgh and Steubenville, but that was it. It was literally go to school and say that your mother was a Christian Scientist. They would run away from you and call you a cult. And all. I didn't even know what the fuck a cult was. It would have been better to have been a black, gay, transvestite, retarded, mongoloid, dwarf, Wiccan than it would be to be a Christian Scientist. They would have just patted you on the head and been like, poor creature, here's a piece of pie. But if you were a Christian Scientist, you were a whacked out weird job. Kind of like the way we look at Tom Cruise now. And they would always confuse Scientology with Christian Science, which only made it worse. So after going through all of that, that is the type of power that very quickly generated. And I read to you, there it was. That was the power of it, man. That they saw it that fast. Listen to this. Then it just gave it to me again. Oh no, I read those too. Yeah. There it was that fast. Literally that fucking fast. And Maureen nearly died. And Joyce was just so blown away she couldn't even say anything. She really couldn't. And it was crazy to watch and realize that something that you and I play around with and take for granted and utilize to use the phone, because it's somewhere along the line AI is running the internet for us to be able to even talk on our cell phones. So on the back of that beef that is AI, it's running almost all things, probably right down to your vending machine to notify you when it needs refilled and go collect the money. So yeah, it was really like being a historian minded person and autistic. It was wild to watch, and I admit I did take great delight in scaring them. And it's perverted at this age, but the same way when you're a little kid and you hide in the corner and jump out and go boo to your grandma who's like 90 and couldn't take the kind of a heart attack, but you do it anyway. I'm sorry, it's still within your brain at my age, and I did it. And at the same time, Mimi benefited from those words. She needed to hear that right then after she had just held Buster and he died in her arms. She was blown away. It was beyond words. And so if Maureen does leave for Christmas or before Christmas, whatever, if that really does occur, Mimi will be in that house all by herself without Buster there. And Buster was her time clock, her ticking. She doesn't want another dog for all kinds of reasons. I just hope whatever the universe does, it helps her out. And I see ways that, like AI, if there could be a robot, and it would be weird for her at first. Maybe you shouldn't make it a humanoid robot, but literally a box on wheels or something that does not even attempt to freak them out, that could sit and talk to her, and you could program it to say things like, monitor my mom, respond to her, listen to her voice. And they can tell from our voice if we're stressed or not stressed. They can tell so much about our health from just the tone of our voice. Sleepy, not sleepy, all kinds of shit. Imagine the power of having a bot to help Mimi, to literally say things like, like the phone's ringing, oh, it's Susie calling. And then just by standing next to her, the bot knows I'm calling and goes to her. She doesn't have to even touch a button. All she has to say is hello. That's it. Or imagine the bot that could, if she's like, oh, because with dementia, she talks out loud to herself, and it could notice she's agitated and she's, and it could either call me, or it could break into Christian Science practitioner mode. Joyce, let's do a Bible lesson. And she would love that. She would love that kind of thing. Now imagine if it wasn't just a Bible lesson, but hey, let's do a crossword puzzle or something else that someone liked to do, like a hobby. Of course, me and you just talk for a hobby. So our bot would be great working for us, just talking to us. But other people would want it to do certain things. I could see a huge market for that in the land of being the incubator. They're the old person alone with the bot. Monitored, yes. But at these stages where, and I'm going to tell Jennifer this too, I think we should quietly put camera monitors in Mom's house. I do. And I want to know what you think about that.
The legal aspect of it is the first thing I think of.
Well, if we got her okay to do it, here's my rationale. Pretend you were her. Here's what I would say to John, Jen, and her. I have an idea. There's something I would like to add to Mom's house. It's expensive. I can't buy it myself. I can't install it myself. I need help. Jim can't do it either. He's far gone. Don't ask Jim for much more than handing you the salt anymore. Point is this. I want to get a camera monitoring system. I want to put it at the bottom of the steps where she goes down to do laundry, showing the laundry spot where she walks, not aimed at the bathroom, so anybody going in there maintains their privacy, not aimed at the bed, so anybody over in the bed section maintains their privacy, just the laundry where she works and the steps, in the event she were to fall. Another thing, I would want one on the front door for all kinds, whatever it would be. And
Right.
I in that stack of stuff I got one of those camera doorbells, but it has to attach to someone's phone. I wish John would do that since John's monitoring mom now. Don't ask me to do it because me and technology are at our limits. So there's that. But honestly, and I know it's a lot for John, but John could, if something happened and he saw something, he could then call me. I know it's an extra step, but maybe if you or Brittany hooked it up or tethered it, but that's not important. The point is, we also need one down the hallway, not pointing into the bathroom or her bedroom, but one down the hallway. So if she came out of the bedroom or the bathroom and she fell right there, we would see her. There should be one overlooking the living room from behind her, from the corner, the most unobtrusive spot possible, and it'll just see everything. It'll see the front door, the living room, going into the dining room, the kitchen, but it won't invade privacy at all. But we'll be able to see if she tries to stand up and falls because she got dizzy and is laying in the living room on the floor, where she did already do that with Maureen there. And luckily, John, I was told you came right, like you pulled in the driveway right then when Maureen was telling her, well, Joyce, you're going to have to crawl across the floor because I can't pick you up. And then, oh, yeah. Well, okay. What if Maureen wasn't there and you weren't pulling in the driveway? What then? My point is she would have fallen, and if she won't wear the monitor to let us know she falls, okay, I am good with that. But and I maybe maybe I'm hold on. When you don't smoke for a day or two, all the yucky comes up. Anyway, the point is needs to be at strategic places. Where else does she go? In the garage. We need one in the garage for more reasons than just one. I mean, okay, another thing, side noting. Remember how I've been saying something's going on with Mimi's car? Well, tonight I sent Uncle John. I called Neff's. That's the repair shop downtown. Get used to these names because if you come over here for any length of time, you're going to know. I called Neff's and told them, I said, okay, here's the deal. We just last week had her oil changed. She said, yeah, I know. I said, well, the maintenance thing is still on. I don't know if you did not clear it by accident or this is something new. And I asked because the car is acting a little different. So she said, in what way? I said, well, it's been consistently smooth. And yet it seems to really struggle big time going zone much faster than before. My husband, who used to be a mechanic, says, and we don't even know if it has these things, but it seems like a plugs and wires type of, maybe a new fuel filter, something along those lines. She goes, okay. She goes, so if it is, she goes, well, we could have forgotten, but let's just see. Could you bring it in tomorrow at 8 a.m? Well, no, I can't. And I knew better than to involve Mimi and Maureen, because it won't be a simple matter like me calling you and you saying, yeah, I'll just bring the car to you right now and it'll be no problem. No, it would be, when did they get the car to Susie? And we'll know, will they have to get up in the morning? And then she'll stay up all night. So I thought of you telling me, make it simple, Mom. Keep it simple, stupid. So I tried. And I said, well, do you have anything later? And she said, yeah, at 4 o'clock. I said, okay. So I knew come hell or high water. So I texted Uncle John and told him. And Uncle John said, let me read my text. Sorry, I'm on this new medicine and my food is fermenting instead of digesting. So I kind of wonder, and that's a question I need to ask. Why the fuck, if my food ferments, do I not get drunk on the food in my guts versus drinking the liquor? Is it where it ferments?
No, because it's not producing alcohol. It's just producing sugars.
Oh, okay. So it hasn't gotten to the alcohol point.
Right.
How long?
Stomach acid won't allow that.
It's Uncle John. It is serious bile. Okay. I sent him a, here we go. La, 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 la. Mom's car needs to be seen. Had oil change and light came back on. but it's also seeming to struggle a bit. And a time or two now, the blinkers turned on when they were turned off. I don't know if that's related. Also, she said to remind her to tell you about her bridge. Mimi had 3 teeth removed and is suffering and keeps forgetting to say anything about it and just can't eat. It's awful. She seemed really tired, though, so she may have already told you these things. Hugs. And then I had to send a second one. I said, read up too, because she also needs, she just called, a new bag of ice melt stuff, as hers is hardened into a brick. Well, Jim says, of course, he could go and break up her ice melt. And of course, Jim hasn't, because he was too busy whacking his dick with his Bluetooths from Dan. And so, Mimi gets shuffled to the side because that dick is all important. I digress. So then explain what's going on. So I sent him a 5-minute thing and told him what Neffs had said. I said, car can be seen at 4 tomorrow at Neffs to see if they forgot to close out the code or if there's a new one. Called Mom and Aunt M and let them know. They said they wrote it down. I hope you're warm and snuggly since the dinos have headed out because they do a whole dinosaur. If you've not seen it, so he just wrote, I'm at their house now. Big puddle of oil under her car. Wondering if filter or oil drain plug needs tightened. Have them check that out, please. Then I gave him a 29-minute voice clip and, telling him, okay, no problem and all that. And he goes, thanks for taking care of the car. I can fix, because I also told him when he said he was there at the house, I was like, oh, if you're there at the house, please update her cell phone because she has a password that she says she doesn't have. Someone has to have it. And without her phone updating in the car, Aunt Maureen can't hook her phone up. It won't accept new devices. It's just a mess. Also, the clock needs fixed. And I don't know how to get that done. So that's what he was referring to. That's what my voice clip said. And he said, thanks for taking care of the car. I can fix the clock, but I've had trouble connecting the Bluetooth in her car. I'll see if I can find some information on it. So hold on, just be quiet for 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Come on. Oh my God. I don't know what the heck it's my mouse, but like it won't accept information, the computer. Here we go. Hey John, it's me. I was having trouble getting my mouse to work. I think the problem is, and I could be way off here, but her cell phone in the car keeps flashing it needs updated. Doesn't. I would prefer not to have access to any of that sort of information, plausible deniability. That's a joke, John. Anyway, the point is I think her cell phone that is the master controller of the car thing were updated, then it might be able to do whatever Bluetooth stuff it needs to do. Because Brittany says she's tried, same thing. I tried to link my phone, same thing. It just, I think Ian even tried his, same thing. And Maureen, same thing. So the only thing it all connects to is her phone, and her phone needs updated. So that might be the issue. But it's late, and you live in the woods, and I wish I were you, but I wish I were me. Actually, I just wish I had your house and your farm and your beautiful wife and child daughter, and that you made me great sausage. Because, it's America, and I can wish things like that. I love you, John. Bye-bye. Those original, see it. Can you see it yet?
No, hold on. You messaged it to me.